Hi, my name's Laura Hawley. I'm a Canadian composer, conductor, and music educator from Canada's capital, the beautiful city of Ottawa. And in one video, I spoke about some of my treble works that I wrote for educational purposes, and in this video, I'm going to talk about the works I've written that fall into categories such as pieces written for anniversaries or occasions, pieces that I've written as gifts, and a piece that I wrote this year, 2017, for Elektra Women's Choir. I'd like to talk now about pieces that I've written for groups who are celebrating an anniversary or a particular occasion. One piece is "O Come Let Us Sing," which was written to honor the occasion of a minister's retirement. The Cantiamo Girls Choir has rehearsed in the same spot for their entire existence, and they've had so much support from the minister who was there for most of that time. And when she retired, the choir hatched a secret plan to have something written to sing at a church service as a goodbye surprise for her. This piece is a setting of Psalm 95, and it's juxtaposed with the Tallis Canon, "Praise God to whom all blessings flow," at the end. It's got a really fun piano part because I was the pianist for Cantiamo at the time and decided it would be nice to write something fun for myself. And the piece is probably suitable for an intermediate to advanced level group. It's very joyful, but it's got some challenging harmonies and some challenging rhythms to do. The middle section especially requires a little bit advanced kind of understanding of harmony. But it's quite joyful, it's a lot of fun, and especially a good time for a pianist. Another piece with a fun piano part is Music Makers, and this one has piano writing influenced by Sir Irving Glick's Psalm Trilogy. The second or third piece has a really amazing left-hand bass line that I thought would be kind of fun to try. So I put that into this piece. It's a setting of the well-known poem "We Are the Music Makers," and was written for another anniversary occasion for their gala concert in the spring. And finally, I'd like to talk about "The Arrow in the Song." This piece, unlike the other two, was written for a women's choir, and it divides into 8 parts, so it's definitely for a more advanced group. It's a setting of the poem by the same name, "The Arrow in the Song." I shot an arrow into the air, it fell to earth, I knew not where, and follows that idea throughout, also talking about I breathed a song into the air. So searching for the arrow in the song and eventually finding that song in the heart of a friend. It's such a beautiful poem. And in this piece, it starts off with the sounds of the wind and the birds, so the choir has a little bit of vocal effects to play with there, and unfolds very slowly with those sounds coming around throughout, and then kind of gets rolling in kind of a light, popular kind of style. And the altos have the melody. Yay! I'd like to talk about 4 pieces that I composed as gifts. These were all gifts for the Cantiamo Girls Choir. The first one is in Flanders Fields, which I wrote after visiting Flanders Fields, and was really the piece that I would say got me rolling as a composer. I hadn't thought too much about composition as something that I was going to be spending a lot of time doing in my musical life, but after visiting Flanders Fields, I felt really compelled to try to set how I felt there in music, and wrote the setting of Flanders Fields for Cantiamo. Another piece that I wrote for them was an arrangement. I don't have a lot of arrangements, but this particular one was very meaningful for the choir. It's an arrangement of "Maid on the Shore," which is a folk song that became very dear to me as a well-treasured track on my good old Stan Rogers CD. And this piece was so loved by the girls that we had to do it every year. Every year we did it. So it's a lot of fun. It starts off with a lament kind of a thing. You can't tell that it's going to be Maid on the Shore when it starts out. It's really that Maid's song for herself that she's singing. And as you go through the piece, that lament kind of appears in different ways. And for anyone who knows the story of this song, you know that this maid is taken aboard the ship of a captain who fancies her. And later she sings them all to sleep and charms them all, and then robs the pants off of them and paddles her way back to shore. So by the end of the song, you can hear that her song is actually actually surrounding the main tune, and it's kind of taken over everything. It's a lot of fun to sing. Another gift that I wrote for the choir is called Christmas Snowflakes. This is a setting of a lovely poem by an American poet, a young poet, Sasha Isabella Alexander. And I wrote this one as a Christmas present for the choir. It sort of dances around harmony-wise. Sometimes it's very consonant, and sometimes the notes kind of clash together and create this little sparkle as it kind of dances along. The fourth piece in the category of gifts is the versicles and responses, and this piece is for a more advanced choir. It has some pretty complex harmonies in it. It's a setting of the responses for the evensong service, which is an evening service in the Anglican Church, and its call and response style of piece certainly fits into that church service, and the Lord's Prayer in the center of it was an interesting part of the compositional process. I had intended for that part of the responses to be just chanted to a single tone, and a colleague of mine suggested that I absolutely must harmonize it as I had done the rest. And so I decided I would do both, and in the Lord's Prayer there is a single pitch that is constant throughout, and the harmony moves around it in different ways all the way through. Carol Trilogy is a work written for Elektra Women's Choir. It's an advanced level piece and is a setting of 3 Christmas carols. The first is a relatively unknown, very old French carol called the Burgundian Carol. It's sung in an old version of French, and someone put it as a rustified version of a dialect, which I quite like. The second carol is a setting of In Dulce Jubilo, and the third is my personal favorite Christmas carol, the Wexford Carol. So thank you for watching. I would love to hear from you if you'd like to talk about any of my pieces or anything else. And you can also visit my website for lots of information about each piece, the full text of each work, and for contact information. Thanks again.
Prince